What is good? Welcome to Dub Nation, the official show of the Utah Warriors of Major League Rugby. I am Jarom Jordan alongside Banksy. On the show today, we recap the loss at DC, round 10 in MLR. Little RG Bargy to talk about, round 11 preview. It's a bye week for the Warriors. And we'll talk to assistant coach Robbie Abel. So we jump right in, Banksy. The Capital Boys got on the board in the 4th minute. Penny Lasung on a perfectly weighted grubber to go up 7-0. Then DC scored again in the 11th off a maul. Quickly, Utah was down 14-0.
And this has kind of been the way the Warriors season has gone. When they struggle early. The boys are usually able to pick it up late, but we've spotted a lot of team 10 points or more this season so far.
Luckily, the first half would go much better. In the 18th minute, Lance Williams scored his 4th try of the year to make it 14-5. This game was delayed, by the way, with weather, so conversions were hard to come by, but Lance gets on the board.
It was a great try from Lance and a man-of-the-match performance. He really is one of the emotional leaders, even though he doesn't wear the captain's armband. Always runs hard, leads with his emotions, and is always fun to watch.
In the 19th, Joe Hodgson was given a yellow for an intentional knock-on. DC awarded a penalty try. In that moment, it's 21-5. 10 minutes later, Mika Cruz on a big bobble from Tuveri Vungakoto and pass to make it 21-10. Again, tough to get those conversions, but Utah tacks on a second.
You can see Mika Cruz work out into space. He sees the gap out there, and the flip came back inside, and it was great hands, a little bit of that old traditional Fijian flair from Vungakoto. Great work from the two of them out there.
That could have easily been a knock-on. Two does a nice job to finally catch this, goes to ground, and then throws it to Mika, and boom, in for the try. 33rd minute, Graydon Bowd made a penalty kick, 24-10 DC. But 5 minutes before the half, Lance Williams scores his second try. He's got a double on the day on a maul to make it 24-15. Conversion good. Hey, it's 24-17 at halftime.
And this is what you like to see from the Warriors, even when they're struggling, the set piece dominance and the physicality of that forward pack. If they can get that chemistry back, there were a lot of changes in the lineup this week and a lot of new faces and new places here. If they can get that chemistry and that physicality back and rolling again, we can expect good things down the final stretch of the season.
More on Lance and his great game coming up in a moment. Stalemate for the first 33 minutes of the second half, but Tuveri Vungakoto scores. Unfortunately, the conversion is missed, so Utah's down by 2, but Utah knocking on the door here.
2 just showing absolute class. He sat out for those 3 games for disciplinary action and has been nothing but fantastic since he's come back. He's such a character, a quiet guy naturally, has such a great sense of humor. All the guys absolutely love him, and that shows in the chemistry when they're in these rough and scrappy situations where he's able to not only find the ball, but find the try line.
So it's 7 minutes to go. Utah cuts it to 2, and this conversion is missed by just inches, unfortunately. Otherwise, it's a tie game. As it was a good kick by Joel, but it just misses. And again, the wind was a major factor here. This game was delayed by nearly an hour. So unfortunately, Utah down by 2 at this point. DC responds just a couple minutes later to make it 31-22. And then in the 79th, the exclamation point. Final score 36-22. The good news, Utah gets the bonus point with 4 tries, but unfortunately it doesn't keep it within 7 or wins, so just the 1 point out of that. Final stats look like this. DC 5-4 in the try category. Again, conversions were tough. No penalty goals attempted by Utah in this one. Lineouts were a struggle as well, 6 that did not go the way of the Warriors. And Old Glory was giving away some penalties. There were opportunities here, but Utah goes down 36-22.
And a tough day by the numbers when you look at it like that, but the way that these boys have played through this middle stretch of the season in between the 2 bye weeks has been nothing short of incredible. And it feels like every week we are facing the, at that time, top team in the league. So maybe wearing on the boys a little bit here. So a great time now, 10 weeks into the season, to catch the bye week, to rest, to recover, to relax the body, recharge with the family a little bit, and reset for that final run into the playoffs.
Okay, a couple of game notes in this one. DC snaps Utah's 4-game win streak. Utah was trying to tie a team record with 5. All 3 losses this season have been by 14 plus. So basically, if Utah's going to lose, it's by a wide margin. Utah, and this one's tough. Now 2-12 all-time on the road against Eastern Conference teams. Hard to travel and get that win right now. Second most points allowed this year, 37 to Nola was the most. And it's the first game versus DC, not decided by a point. They had played twice. They were both decided by 1 point. That's some tough news. The good news is Paul Mullen. Congratulations, 43rd player in MLR history with 50 caps.
What a great graphic for the big Irish American. He's such a character. He's beloved by the fans and in the clubhouse. He's such a great guy to have and well-deserved on 50 caps.
And then the newly capped Warrior number 113, Jonah Dietenberger. Congratulations.
And he really was a physical presence, and I expect big things out of him as he continues to develop both physically and with his rugby IQ. There's a really high future for Dietenberger.
Jonah came to the Warriors in the Mikey Teo trade with San Diego in the offseason. San Diego, the next opponent, coming up May 6th. More on that later. Congratulations as well to Lance Williams, who made the MLR first 15 at number 7, of course. Flanker, 2 tries, 48 meters run, 20 ruck arrivals. He's like a truck, I suppose, as well. Well-deserved by Lance, who continues to score and help lead this team.
The little Freudian slip, well-deserved there, because he absolutely does run like a truck. Ask Sam Windsor about that. He'll tell you all the stories. So well-deserved for Lance. He made the switch from blindside to this year in the swap with Bailey Wilson, and you can see why. Just incredible form, and he's such a great personality. Love you, Oos, and well-deserved on that first 15 nod.
What have you thought of that switch from blindside to open side? And for the rugby novice, what are the nuances of each spot of the flankers?
Well, the difference really is how far you have to run and how fast. For the open side flanker, you always cover the open side of the field where there's greater space. Your defensive assignments are different. Your ability to disrupt at the breakdown, which is where Lance has been so good, has been fantastic. Where in the 6 jersey, when you're playing blindside, you're almost more of an enforcer, where you are like a defensive stopper on that blind side. And that's where Bailey Wilson has been so great. And we've seen some incredible tackles from him this season, really forcing the opponents to play into your defensive strength because they know they're not going to get by you. So you have to cover less space, but oftentimes you're covering 1 or 2 players at a time with the help of often just a winger outside of you on the sideline. So the difference in the mindset, the mobility, and the style of play between 6 and 7 are subtle, but significant.
And Lance has gotten into great shape, especially with USA 7s, and the ability to run all over the pitch has been awesome. So congratulations to Lance on first 15. Okay, round 10 in MLR. Here's the recap. How about Toronto challenging Seattle? New England takes down Atlanta. Dallas putting up some points against San Diego, but San Diego ultimately puts up 47. NOLA takes down Chicago. I continue to be flabbergasted by the struggles of Chicago, despite what looks like an awesome roster. It feels like they are just a week away from just dominating. And then this was a huge one. Houston taking down New York. Both coaches were ejected after an incident on the sideline. The league is investigating. That one got weird, man.
I'm not really surprised about that because we've had an incident with that particular coach from Houston who stormed into the broadcast and fourth officials booth on us at one point a couple of seasons ago. So it's a shocking scene from a rugby perspective, but knowing the personalities and the history there a little bit, not surprised, and I hope the league gets it sorted out sooner rather than later.
Yeah, Pote Human, the Houston director of rugby they were referring to. Okay, standings. Western Conference. San Diego still on top of the league right now with 40 points. Houston into second place now with 36. Seattle, 34. Utah's having a great season with the 6-3 record, but out of playoff position at the moment. And then Dallas and Chicago behind. In the East, New England, 34 points. Remember, the Warriors have a win over the Free Jacks. Old Glory DC in the second spot right there. New York, the defending champs in third, NOLA, and then Rugby ATL in Toronto, quite a bit behind. What sticks out about the standings through week 10?
I think for the Warriors, if we look at that Western Conference standing, the fact that we have a game against each of those 3 teams and a chance to make up a big points gap through the back half of the season, as well as games against the 2 teams behind us still in hand. And then you look at games against Rugby ATL on the schedule. There's a lot of points on offer through the back half of this season that the Warriors can really make a big push going into the playoffs to fight for that number 3 spot.
And notably, after the bye week this week, San Diego, the top team right now in MLR, is coming to town, baby.
If you want to get your tickets, be ready for this next home game. Go to warriorsrugby.com. The Warriors undefeated at home this season. Zions Bank Stadium has become a fortress for the men in red and black, and we need you to be there to sign up for that next home game. Get your tickets, get your seats, get your kit, and be ready. Everything you need is online now at warriorsrugby.com.
Okay, this week in Major League Rugby, again, no Utah Warriors game, but we'll walk you through it. Seattle hosting Dallas, NOLA hosting Toronto, New England hosting New York. That's a big one in the East. And then the game of the week is San Diego against Houston. That one, massive.
I think both of those last two games, the battle in the Eastern Conference and the battle in the Western Conference there, those are the top two teams from each of those divisions, or top 2 and 3 teams in each of those divisions. So both of those should be big battles in their respective conferences.
Can't wait for those matchups. And, of course, we'll keep a keen eye on San Diego and Houston and whatnot because, as you mentioned, there's some huge home games coming up for Utah. Not to mention the May 6th Junior Warriors Clinic is full, but there are more opportunities to get involved.
These Junior Warriors clinics are incredible. And if you want to be part of these and get your kids involved in a game that we know and love, sign up for Junior Warriors Rugby at junior.warriorsrugby.com. These pregame clinics happen 2 hours before kickoff. You get interactions with our very own Ashley Burge, who is our Junior Warriors Academy director, and she runs these clinics along with the coaches and players from the team. It's a great chance just to get a good run around and learn some basic skills as our youth continue to grow into the game. So go to junior.warriorsrugby.com and sign up now.
Shout out to Ashley, who this weekend is getting married. Her last name's going to be Solomon. Congratulations to Ashley. We are so excited for her. She is fantastic. A new chapter of her life begins. Congrats to Ashley. Let's bring in our guest today. He is an assistant coach. He is a former Maori All Black. He is, of course, Robbie Abel, who looks the part in that picture. It's hard to know what to do when you pose for photos, but Robbie knows what to do. Robbie, welcome to the show, man. How you doing?
Hey, thank you. Thank you very much. Thanks for having me, guys.
It's good to have you on. Let's talk about kind of obviously Saturday, kind of a weird situation with the weather delay, and obviously the team's playing well. You score 4 tries, but unfortunately lose that game. How would you kind of summarize that game and that day and that trip?
Yeah, I mean, it was an interesting one, and we're learning a lot. I think the main thing is we're learning that we can't allow teams to get ahead of us. You know, we've really got to start with a bang. We've been focusing on that for the last couple of weeks, and I think a lot of games through the year we've been able to kind of peel back some leads, but this week was just a little bit too far, and it was just a little bit too much to ask of the boys in the back end. So it was costly there. So we just need to be conscious of how we're ticking along and not letting teams kind of chip away at that scoreboard there.
So as the forwards coach, we've had a lot of shifting and shuffling through really the tight 5 because the loose forwards have been pretty consistent with Lance, Bales, and Tommy taking that 8 spot. But you've had to do a lot of adjusting and changing with the different personnel there in the tight 5. How has that affected the way the boys prepare?
To be honest, our boys are pretty good in that way in terms of like they're kind of it's next man up and they just move with it. Me on the other hand, I've been having to rack my brain of ways that we can manipulate things and put ourselves in the best position to win our ball at set piece and put a performance on the field that we can be proud of. And I'm really proud of the boys so far. I think they've accepted every challenge and continued to get better. And I've challenged them week in, week out to continue to do that, continue to learn, continue to grow, stretch themselves. And for the most part, we've been really happy with how that's turned out.
So let's talk about the boy on debut, Dietenberger. I thought he had a good game in that second row position. Didn't get a lot of publicity for it, but locks rarely do. I thought his work rate was really good and his physicality was really good. Where's the ceiling at for him?
That's the thing, you can't buy tall, so you can't teach tall. So if he continues to put those sorts of performances together, then we'll see. The physicality for tall guys is something that is generally something that a lot of guys have to work on. So if you've got that naturally, then it's a massive plus. So I'm really excited for him. Really excited for him to get it. Really proud of him getting his first crack and excited for what he does in future performances.
So let's talk about, as we go through this 4-game win streak, what went right for the boys. It felt like everything went right. The chemistry was clicking. The offloads were clicking. What were some of your favorite moments from that 4-game win streak as we look back here in the bye week?
Yeah, look, we've put a we've really put ourselves out there in terms of just how we lay our bodies on the line for each other. So the physicality and the work rate and just the ability to continue to work regardless of how things look, and things haven't been perfect through that period. But the boys have just stuck in there for each other, which is great, and that's been an awesome thing to see. That comes with a price. And the price for that has been we've had a few banged up bodies. So getting to the end of that stretch is we've kind of seen that toll. But that's been the major positive for me, is just how the boys approach those games and how they've showed up in those games and the manner in which they did that. Like they just turn up for each other. So I think it's something that we can be proud of.
I feel like the chemistry in this locker room has always been good since the preseason. Like, these boys came in with the mentality that they were going to support and build each other up. And I think that shows in the way that they've played through the season, even when we struggled early and have now come back through this 4-game win streak. 28 points, 4th place so far in the West, which is kind of where we've been hovering. How are you feeling about going down the back half of the season now and the push to get that playoff spot?
Yeah, I'm feeling pretty good, and even at the start of the season, I was feeling pretty good about it and positive about how we've approached the season as a group. For me, one thing that's really important is that the team represents the people. For me, that's huge. And by the people, I mean the people of Utah, the people that we represent. So, and represents kind of the qualities that we show. So we talk about Utah built and embodying that sort of approach. For me, that's massive. And that for me is resilience. It's hard work. It's turning up when things aren't perfect, aren't right, getting on with the job, all of that sort of stuff. So I'm not too worried about if things don't look exactly right or things don't come off exactly right. As long as we keep working, I'm pretty confident that we can stack a lot of things in our games and get a lot of things coming our way. So I think it's a very positive, very positive environment, and I'm really loving the approach.
This team is the best Utah Warriors team through, just count it like 6, 7, 8, 9 games to this point, right? Yet out of a playoff position, because the West is tough, man.
Yes.
How you feeling about the West and the fact that you get San Diego and Houston at home in the next 2 out of the next 3 weeks after this?
Yeah, man, the West is stacked. The West is stacked at the moment. We might have to take a leaf out of old New York and Houston's playbook, and Coops and Danny Lee might have to have a fight at the 20-minute mark. And
it's a good
night.
It seemed to work for Houston, so we might have to do that.
I'd put you in there before I'd put Coops in there, Robbie. Just saying. If we're stacking a team on fisticuffs, bud, I want to go toe to toe with somebody represent me. I'm putting the old workhorse.
We send our greatest warrior. Yeah.
I'll tell you what. I'll let you in on a little secret. I've got 10 brothers, and I've never beat one of them in a fight. So you'll be putting your money on the wrong horse, brother.
Nah, fine. We'll bring in Charlie. Fine.
Yeah.
Now that would be fun on June 10th. When Chicago's in town.
No, yeah.
I can see Sean Davies with his shirt off on the sideline going, "Is there no one else?"
I'm surprised that hasn't happened already. Yeah. No, man. I think, like, back to your point, the West is traveling pretty well. But I think across the board, even the loss on the weekend, every week you're seeing the quality and the improvement in the competition, and I think that's the best thing for MLR, USA Rugby, rugby in Canada. If we just continue to progress and continue to see quality, for me, it's great. I'd rather have it stacked. I'd rather have it really competitive than the opposite. So really enjoying it, and I'm stoked that we get to have a crack at all those teams in the West again.
So this will be the third meeting between the Warriors and San Diego if we include the preseason, season opener, and now they come to Zions Bank Stadium. What do you expect that's going to be different from those guys in this matchup? Because I think we are physically in a very different place than we were in those first 2 weeks.
Yeah, to be honest, I'm not expecting very much different. They play a great style of rugby, and they've got some quality players. And because of that, they're well coached and they've done really well throughout the season. So I'm expecting them to bring everything that they've got, to be honest, and we'll be preparing for it that way. For us, every game is a massive game, and we'll approach it as such. So we expect a lot from San Diego, and I'm sure they're gonna put a lot of work in to be able to come up here and try to deliver a performance for their fans and their people, and we're gonna do the same.
Any fun bye week plans to enjoy one of 2 weeks in an 18-week span off?
Yeah, no, none. Literally, I get up, take my son to school, and take my daughter to the shops, and take my dog for a walk, and that's been me for the week. I'm just trying to recharge and get ready for this next block. We've got a bit of a sprint here. To really just hammer it as much as we can. So, plan for me, recharge, and get ready to get these boys firing.
Can I suggest a little shadow boxing in the garage? Maybe add that to the list, all right? Hit the heavy bag a little bit, Robbie. Always appreciate your time, brother. Always a joy to talk to you, man. Thank you for being with us here on Dub Nation, cuz.
Cheers, brother. Thank you guys very much.
Thanks, Robbie. Robbie Abel, Utah Warriors assistant coach. We appreciate his time on this bye week. And you can look good like Robbie if you go to the team store.
Look at that fantastic polo he's got on. Look at the boys here from Zion and Caleb in the middle. All the boys wearing their best. If you want to rock the 4 stripes and the red and black, go to shop.warriorsrugby.com. Everything from head to toe that you need to look your best at Zions Bank Stadium to cheer on your Warriors. Shop.warriorsrugby.com.
Let's finish with a couple of news and notes. The Warriors signed a scrum half named Siosi Nye. We welcome Siosi to the mix, which is awesome. Welcome to the club. And the Miami Sharks, who will join the league next year, named their head coach this week. It's Jose Cochi Pelicina, who is the former Argentina U20 national team coach. We're looking forward to Miami being in the league next year, and we'll see who else joins the league the next couple of years. All right, Banksy. It's a bye week, and then San Diego's coming in. And then it's a stretch of 7 weeks in a row to try and make the playoffs. And right now, Utah's got some work to do.
It's a drag race to the end, and I feel like if the Warriors can pick up 5 wins maybe out of that 7, we're probably looking at a solid spot at that 3rd position and a chance to win their first MLR Shield. So let's go, Dub Nation.
Let's go. Okay, that'll do it for us. Like and share this episode of Dub Nation. Follow the Utah Warriors on social media. As mentioned, no game this week, but we'll see you next week on Wednesday for Dub Nation. Our thanks to Robbie Abel. Today's show was produced by Mason Benson. For Banksy, I am Jarom. Go Warriors!